Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video this afternoon I am going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news, keeping up to date with what players are linked with Manchester United, and we do know that signings are desperately now needed at the football club. So I am going to keep you up to date with what's going on with Bruno Fernandes. Also going to give you the latest news regarding Solsjkaer, and there's lots of other things to talk about. So the news regarding Bruno Fernandes. So I am still very convinced that Manchester United will sign Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, he is my number one priority target. Man United are hopeful that we can complete the signing of Bruno Fernandes by the 31st of January. So we've got like 8 or 9 days to complete the signing of Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes has already revealed that he does want to come to Manchester United. Arguably, we should have signed Bruno Fernandes at the beginning of the month, or we should have signed him last week. But the actual fee has been the stumbling block of Bruno Fernandes' proposed move to Manchester United, basically. So, reportedly now, Sporting Lisbon want around £50 million up front. We're only determined to pay around £45 million up front. So, basically, we're around £5 million short of their valuation. But like I mentioned on my recent videos, I think, the club should be just determined to pay what Sporting Lisbon are demanding, because I think he's worth that money, is Bruno Fernandes. Because like I've mentioned on my recent videos, we're known for overpaying for players anywhere. Prime example, 80 or was it £85 million for Harry Maguire. We paid £50 million for Fred. We paid £40 million for Nemanja Matic, £89 million for Paul Pogba. So we should just pay, what Sporting Lisbon are demanding. Paul Scholes, came out yesterday, reflecting on our 2-0 defeat to Burnley. He came out now and said, that increases our chances of signing Bruno Fernandes. And, from his perception, he feels as though the club should just meet what Sporting Lisbon are demanding. Jorge Mendes has also been working on Bruno Fernandes' transfer to Manchester United. Don't forget he was in the director's box the other week, spectating the Man United Wolves game. But he did come out yesterday, did Jorge Mendes, and he actually said that he doesn't know if Bruno Fernandes is going to be leaving Sporting Lisbon this month. I think this is what he said, but he says he will leave this year. So from his own perception, if he doesn't leave in this January transfer window, he will leave in the summer, will Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes did play against Braga the other night. And I do presume that should now be his farewell appearance. But that game against Benfica last week should have been Bruno Fernandes' farewell appearance, because reports were emerging out prior to that game saying that, we wanted to sign Bruno Fernandes and that. I think we've already had an offer turned down for him, because at the first we'd offered around £42 million up front, or was it 43 million up front, with like 25 million in potential add-ons. And it says obviously these add-ons, or the vast majority of these add-ons, would only be activated if we won like the Premier League, the Champions League, or came like third, or Bruno Fernandes finished in the top 3 of the Ballon d'Or. But that's obviously unlikely to happen, basically. So from Sporting Lisbon perspective, they weren't happy with the structure of the offer. I think he's already agreed the personal terms with Man United. A lot of Portuguese sources confirmed that the other week. And he did say he's set to earn around £120,000 a week. So he's still looking very imminent. He's going to be our first signing this year. And he's going to be our 4th signing overall under the Mulligan Solsjkaer era. Obviously, there's been quite a few clubs in for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, Tottenham have been in for him. Tottenham went in for him last summer. City and Liverpool were also in for him last summer. City were very close at one point to getting Bruno Fernandes on the board. The main explanations why we didn't get Bruno Fernandes last summer is because, we was not willing to meet the £70 million that Sporting Lisbon wanted. But last summer we only valued Bruno Fernandes at around £50 million. But Bruno Fernandes, would be a great addition to our squad. He's not enough. Obviously, we know that more signings are needed at the football club. I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. and if we are, to be up there challenging for major honours, because this year it's very imperative that we do address the deficiencies in the squad without a shadow of a doubt. And also our recruitment has got to improve, because our recruitment has been very poor for several years. But even though we have been inconsistent for the last 6 or 7 years, I still feel as though, we can attract players to the elite level, basically, because Bruno Fernandes at the moment anywhere isn't enjoying a great time with Sporting Lisbon. But, obviously, I think he's got the minerals to come and succeed in the Premier League. Obviously, he hasn't played in the Premier League as yet. But I think he's had a good couple of years with Sporting Lisbon. Got his contract extended last year until 2023. I do presume that's reflecting on his good run of performances. And obviously, he spent the entirety of his career in Italy when he was younger, did Bruno Fernandes. So he's only at the age of 25. Still got a lot of years ahead of him. And Solsjkaer did confirm he still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young players into the football club. But we are basically seeing Bruno Fernandes as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba, because I'm very convinced that Paul Pogba's going to leave Manchester United in the summer anyway. I don't think he'll leave in this January transfer window, but we look very exposed in that midfield due to the injuries of Paul Pogba and Scott McTominay, So once we come to an agreement on a fee, then I think, Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United should be officially announced, definitely. But I think he's going to be coming in. But if we do sign him, it's the only signing that Manchester United are going to make in this January transfer window. But overall, anyway, there has been a lot of players on our agenda. So that's the latest news regarding Bruno Fernandes, and I do presume more additional information will update. But I think we have got an agreement in place. All we need to do now is come to an agreement on a fee. So the news regarding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So obviously, there's a lot of Manchester United fans now, including me, that want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be sacked by the football club. Especially, reflecting on our 2-0 defeat to Burnley yesterday night in the Premier League. Now, obviously, Sky Sports have reported today, they've said our board and Ed Woodward are still determined to back Solskjaer despite our 2-0 defeat to Burnley. But that was an absolute disgrace yesterday against Burnley. Of course, obviously, we expected to see a reaction from the 2-0 defeat to Liverpool at the weekend. Of course, Solskjaer had made 2 changes from the 2-0 defeat to Liverpool. And, it was an absolute embarrassing performance. I think we had some decent opportunities in the first half. Martial should have scored, Juan Mata should have scored. But, we didn't create nothing in the second half of that game. So Burnley do win the game by 2-0. That's our first defeat to Burnley in the Premier League, at Old Trafford since 1962. So that's around 58 years ago now. So... And Burnley are a very, very poor team, to be quite honest with you. But, this is now our 3rd defeat of 2020. And Solskjaer was saying, on New Year's Day prior to the game against Arsenal, he said he expected us to enjoy a better year this year than what we saw last year. So he did say he expects to see a successful 2020 with Manchester United. And he's aware now that he's in his 2nd year. He's got many expectations to exceed at the football club, basically. But we have now lost 8 games this season in 24 matches. So there's 14 games remaining of the season. We are sitting, 6 points behind Chelsea. We've had so many opportunities this season to close the gap on Chelsea, because Chelsea have been so inconsistent. And that also, really infuriates me. But I've got to say now, I'm fully disregarding that top 4. I don't think Manchester United are going to get that top 4. And I did say at the start of this season that our expectations this season will be to finish in that top 4 and perhaps, get some silverware on the board. Because obviously, that gives us something to build on. But I don't see us getting the top 4. I don't even see us, getting any silverware on the board this season. I don't see us winning the Europa League. Obviously, that's another route to Champions League football. I also don't see us winning the FA Cup. We're definitely not going to win the Carabao Cup. So it is ruining times at Manchester United, definitely. And yes, Solskjaer does need to be sacked by Manchester United immediately. He does need to be sacked. But not all of the blame stems from Solskjaer, due to our inconsistency. I think everyone at the club needs to take responsibility. These aren't only problems, with Solskjaer, the coaching staff, the board and Ed Woodward. Also, there's still more players that need to leave the football club, definitely. And I think we need to get rid of another 6 or 7 more players this year, despite the fact that a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, basically. And obviously, Ashley Young left for Inter Milan. So he was the first player to leave Manchester United in 2020. But there's definitely still problematic players at the football club. So I think Man United need to get Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. I think we also need to get rid of the coaching staff, because you've also got Michael Carrick, that's inexperienced. You've got Kieran McKenna, that's inexperienced. I think also Mike Phelan needs to go. I think we've got to get rid of Ed Woodward and the Glazers, because obviously a lot of United fans have been protesting Ed Woodward and the Glazers. And yeah, so we need to see a variety of changes at the football club, definitely. And, obviously reports were emerging out the other week, and it did get revealed how much it would cost the football club to sack Solskjaer now. And I think Man United would have to pay around £5 million to get rid of him. But that's cheap, because, that's around £15 million less than what we paid to get rid of Jose Mourinho, because we paid around £20 million to get rid of Mourinho. We paid around, was it, 7 or 8 million to get rid of Van Gaal, and we think we paid around £5 or £6 million to get rid of David Moyes, basically. But, I'm very sceptical that Man United will sack Solskjaer at this present time. I think probably he will be gone by the end of the season, basically. But I think Solskjaer's now had long enough at the football club, weren't there? I think Solskjaer's now had long enough at the football club, He's been here for, 13 months now. He's been at the football club over the year. He's been permanent manager for around 10 months. And obviously, analysing the vast majority of that 10-month period, he has endured a really difficult time. Obviously, my perceptions were different regarding Solskjaer in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. Because when he was the interim manager, he did really, really well. The results were good. The performances were good. He got the best out of these group of players and that. But, since he's got the job permanently, everything has seemed to have all gone wrong. And I think that's one of the mistakes Man United did make, was, giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job permanently. But I think, I do feel, there's some aspects of me, that do feel sorry for Solskjaer and that, because, it's not fair to put all the blame on him. And obviously, persistently changing managers isn't always the right solution. We've already sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, we sacked David Moyes after 10 months. He endured the shortest tenure with the football club. But obviously, that was the mistake, and the only mistake Alex Ferguson made was recommending David Moyes in, because of course David Moyes was never the right manager for Manchester United. Obviously, he never dealt with top players. He ever had a good pedigree behind him, so that was one mistake he made. But Ferguson appointed him in, David Moyes, because obviously they were both Scottish. Then obviously after Moyes though, we had 2 world-class managers in Louis van Gaal, because at the time before we recommended Van Gaal in, he did really, really well at Bayern Munich, but he didn't replicate that at Man United, and the football was boring under Van Gaal. And obviously under Jose Mourinho, it was part of the bus football. And, he endured 2.5 years with the club. So he's actually endured the longest tenure with the club since the Alex Ferguson era. And, Man United are not really known for sacking a football club. But I think, Solskjaer knows he's not good enough for the job, basically. And he knows that he's been under pressure for the vast majority of this season due to our inconsistency. And, and I'm going to give you the explanations now why I think Solskjaer should be sacked as Manchester United manager. Because obviously, he's lost everything. He's lost more Premier League games now than he's won since he got the job permanently back in March of last year. We're enduring our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. So, this is the worst we've ever been in the Premier League era. He's been tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. He doesn't have a plan A. He doesn't have a plan B. And like I said, reverting back to what I said earlier on in the video, he's an inexperienced manager. Solskjaer is an upcoming manager. And I think a club like Manchester United need to get a manager in at the top level, a manager with a proven pedigree, definitely. That's what, Man United need to do, basically. If I'm going to be quite honest with you. if I'm going to be quite honest with you in that. And maybe he should resign as Manchester United manager. And I think if he did resign as Man United manager, I would credit Solskjaer for that. I think he should just resign and basically, come out and say, I adore the club. I'm a legend of the club. I was a fantastic long-serving player for 11 years, but I'm just not good enough as a manager. And if Solskjaer did that, I would really praise him if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But I think he's had long enough now at the football club. Take into account, the vast majority of this squad, though, is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. The vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's, because take into account, Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players into the football club. Now, Solskjaer still inheriting the vast majority of them. Obviously, Louis van Gaal. Some players are still here for the Van Gaal era. There still might be from the David Moyes era. And there's still around 2 or 3 players here from the Alex Ferguson era. So, take into account, Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. This is only his second transfer window as Manchester United manager. I credit, the 3 players that I brought in last summer in Daniel James, and Wan-Bissaka, and on Harry Maguire. We spent nearly £150 million on them. And to be fair, I think in the vast majority of the games this season, they've done really, really well. To be quite honest with you. But definitely, further more investment is needed in the squad. But, we can't put up with this because, like I said, we're not in that commanding position that we should be in, reflecting on the size, the potential of the club, also reflects on the amount of money that's been invested into the football club over the years. We've spent nearly £1 billion on recruiting new players in the last 6 or 7 years or so. That's how much Manchester United have spent. Not only that, we've got the highest wage bill in the Premier League, so we've got players on big contracts at the club. You've got Rashford on, 300 odd grand a week. You've got Martial on 200 odd grand a week. You've got Pogba on 290 grand a week. You've got De Gea on 375 grand a week. You've got Maguire on 200 odd grand a week. You've got Lingard on 100 grand a week. So we've got players on massive contracts at the football club. But I just think, there is cultural problems at the football club. And I think, we need to recommend a new manager in, we need to recommend a new manager in to change the culture at the club. And, of course, to change this squad. And our recruitment's been very, very poor for several years. But in that aspect, the blame stems from the board and Ed Woodward. Gary Neville recently came out and he criticised Ed Woodward. Solskjaer had reacted to this and, Solskjaer did come out saying that it's not the right time to discuss the club's recruitment policy. But, I can't believe, our lack of investment in the last 5 or 6 years or so. I just can't believe that, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But, like I've said to you on my other videos, well, I've mentioned it quite a lot of times, Manchester United will never, ever be the team that there was under Alex Ferguson. Solskjaer definitely won't invoke Ferguson's legacy to save him at the football club, and neither will any other manager. Despite the fact Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years when we recommended him into the football club, but then look what he went and accomplished after that 4-year period, Ferguson. We won the vast majority of our silverware under him. We won 13 Premier Leagues out of 21. 13 Premier Leagues in 21 years. Ferguson enjoyed 26, 27 years at Man United. He controlled the transfer policies. He controlled the contract. He developed a lot of young players. And we had a fantastic team back under the Alex Ferguson era. But this team now, in this generation under Solskjaer, is totally comparison to the team we had under Alex Ferguson, basically. So, a lot of changes are needed at the football club, definitely. And, there's still more players that need to leave Manchester United. There's more players that need to leave this football club. I think Phil Jones is one of the problematic players. He signed a new long-term contract last season. And that's another mistake from the club. We've given certain players new contracts that we shouldn't have given contracts to. I know Young's now left, but we should never give him a new 1-year extension last season. We shouldn't have given Jones a new long-term contract. Some people now say we should have kept Smalling because some United fans believe Smalling's better than Harry Maguire. I think, we need to get rid of the Nemanja Matic. From our perspective, it would be beneficial to cash in for Matic in this January transfer window rather than letting go on a free transfer at the end of the season. I'd also get rid of Lingard. They need to get him out of the football club. He's too inconsistent, is Lingard. And I know he's been here for several years and he knows the club well, but he's not performing to the standards as we should expect from him. So Lingard, I think, needs to go. I think we've also got to get rid of Andres Pereira. I've also got a lot of element of concerns about him. We also need to get rid of Chong. I've got a lot of element of concerns about him. I think we need to loan Chong out because I don't think Chong is at that level as yet. A lot of United fans now saying we need to get rid of Luke Shaw. Solskjaer still views Luke Shaw as one of the best fullbacks in England. And he's had some good spells as a Manchester United player. And he did well last season because he won the double player of the season. And he's obviously injury prone. That's another element of concern. But obviously now Brandon Williams has come onto the horizon. Luke Shaw's going to find it really hard to get into the team. So we do need a clear out. And Solskjaer is aware of this. And don't get me wrong, there's still players I would be determined to keep at Manchester United. I'd definitely keep Marcus Rashford. Rashford's been one of our best players this season. He's been in scintillating form. 19 goals in all competitions this season for Marcus Rashford. 63 senior goals since he broke into the senior squad. Since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016. And, a lot of aspects of his game have improved. But now, obviously, Man United are going to need a striker. So we don't only need a couple of midfielders. We also now need a striker, reflecting on the injury to Marcus Rashford. Rashford has sustained a double fracture in his back. He did say he could be out for at least 6 weeks, but he could be out for the rest of the season, or if not the rest of the season, could be out until April, could Marcus Rashford. So this is a very, very bad news, and Solskjaer reacted to this, and he says now, he could delve into the transfer market for short-term deals, and there has been quite a few strikers on our agenda, basically. And, a lot of people say the blame stems from Solskjaer reflects on Rashford's injury. I think the minor injury that Maguire sustained not too long ago, that hip injury, Solskjaer was to blame for that. But I feel as though that Solskjaer should have never brought Rashford on against Wolves. So that was a mistake he did make. But Ian Wright actually said, Solskjaer was to blame for that. But, it's bad that we haven't got no Marcus Rashford. And I know that Man United have had injuries this season. We have had injuries this season. But that's not excusable for how inconsistent we've been. And, our squad was good enough yesterday to beat Burnley at Old Trafford without a shadow of a doubt. So I'd keep Rashford. I'd probably keep Martial. I'd keep McTominay because I thought before McTominay got injured, he did quite well, McTominay, to be fair. I'd keep Fred. I would be determined to give Fred more time at the club. I'd keep Brandon Williams. There's a lot of probably young players I would be determined to keep because there is a lot of young players in the squad that are developing and trying to improve. But I would get rid of the vast majority of them, definitely. And I really, really would. And, the good news is now that Bay's just come back from injury. He should have been playing yesterday. It was Jones, obviously, fulfilling Lindelof's role because Lindelof's was out with illness, which obviously, was a shame, so he wasn't playing yesterday. Bay was out with an injury, but recently he's been playing for the under-23s as Bay. Foster Mensah's now back, Diego Dalot's just recently come back from injury. I still believe Tuanzebe and Rojo are still out with injury. Rojo, again, he's another player I would get rid of. So, yeah, we do need a clear out at Manchester United, definitely. Obviously, there is a lot of talks going on regarding Mauricio Pochettino. I think it's very, very imminent. He will be our next manager if Ole Gunnar Solsjkaer is to be sacked by the football club. But I don't think Pochettino will come in until the end of the season. So probably more than likely we'll have to stick with Solskjaer until the end of the season. Pochettino has been in negotiations with Manchester United, overtaking the managerial role. And he's demanded a few things. Reportedly, Pochettino has said, he wants to take control of the transfers. He doesn't want Ed Woodward as a football director. He doesn't want him there. So this is what Pochettino has demanded. But I do believe, from my own perception, he's interested in taking the managerial role at Manchester United. But like I said, Pochettino is totally comparison to Solskjaer. I think he's a much better manager than Solskjaer. He's well proven in the Premier League. He's good at developing young players. And from my own perception, I think Pochettino would suit the strappings of the club, definitely. I'm not saying, we'd win the league under Pochettino or we'd mount any kind of title challenge up, but I think we'd definitely get that top four under Mauricio Pochettino's guidance because obviously in the vast majority of Pochettino's tenure when he was at Tottenham, Tottenham were competing in and out of the top four. But then in the last couple of years, they did become title contenders, did Tottenham. But Pochettino did enjoy a good 5.5 years with Tottenham. Before that, he enjoyed a good short tenure with Southampton. And before that, he was at Espanyol. So in total at the moment, Pochettino has managed 3 clubs. But we've been long admirers of him anywhere. The club should have appointed Pochettino in after the sacking of Jose Mourinho in December 2018. So then we should have recommended Mauricio Pochettino in. But obviously, we didn't. And, I give you the explanations why our, preference was Solskjaer. Because Solskjaer did well on an interim basis. Plus, he was a cheaper solution. And plus, Solskjaer knows the club inside out. So these are the reasons why I went with Solskjaer. And obviously, I wouldn't have to pay out to get Pochettino in now because he's managerless. Don't forget the other week, he was linked with a managerial role at Barcelona. No. Wait a minute. But So he was linked with a managerial role at Barcelona after Barcelona sacked Ernesto Valverde. Linked with a managerial role at Munich. He was also, there was talks of him going to Real Madrid. But if Pochettino comes in, he will be our 5th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era, definitely in that. So, vast majority of United fans now are definitely know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out, basically. But like I've said to you, I've supported Man United all my life. I'm 23 years of age now, and I've experienced great times as a Manchester United fan. Obviously one of the club's greatest achievements was back in 1999. We've won 20 titles, and we've got a fantastic history behind us. We've got a fantastic fan base. We've got an ecstatic stadium, one of the biggest stadiums in the country. But what I've seen in the last 6 or 7 years has been totally comparison to what I saw under Alex Ferguson. So I am ashamed to be a Manchester United fan at the moment. So are you Ollie in? Are you Ollie out? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think Bruno Fernandes to Man United's happening? So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.